Hearing what Charlie said, Wendy nodded in a hurry, even her voice choked up, and said seriously, "Brother-in-law, you are right, I am awake now. I am no longer the old lady who had a high-level eye, unlearned, and a dog-eyed little girl." Then, she opened the zipper of the down jacket a little bit, revealing the blue etiquette uniform inside, and said, "Brother-in-law, look, I have started doing a job by myself now, and I will be a welcome guest in the newly opened Redwoods community." Charlie asked curiously, "How did you become a welcoming guest? If I remember correctly, you are a college student anyway, isn't it better to find any job than to be a welcoming guest?" Wendy whispered in a very ashamed voice, "This, brother-in-law, to tell you, my dad and my elder brother were beaten to be useless people because of their plot against my second aunt. Now I can only lie in bed and can't do anything. My grandmother is too old and lost weight. The stimulation of my second aunt has not been relieved, so I can't go out to find a job. I can only make money to support a family." Speaking of this, Wendy sobbed a few times and choked. But I can't find those good jobs, because such jobs pay a month later, but my dad, my brother and my grandma, the three of them are still waiting at home. I will make money and go back to fill their stomachs, so I can only find a job like this that can pay me daily." Charlie nodded lightly. When she and her old husband went to the supermarket to make purchases a year ago, he saw Mrs. Wilson, who helped customers pull plastic bags in the supermarket. At that time he knew that the Wilson family was exhausted. In the past, they leaned on Ragnar, and they could be considered well off. But later Noah Wilson and Harold got into a catastrophe and tied Cynthia and Elaine together, and Ragnar also completely offended Cynthia. In the end, Ragnar learned of his identity as the young master of the Wade family, so he could only kneel to him and seek a way to survive. Now that Ragnar has become Orville's licking dog, it is naturally impossible to give the Wilson family any chance. Had it not been for that, he still wanted to leave the Wilson family one last escape. The Wilson family would have been swept out by Ragnar. However, Charlie didn't feel sorry for them if he left this back path for them. He felt that since ancient times, the sages have concluded that the wicked have their own truths. Therefore, instead of letting them get out of Thompson, it is better to let them feel the deep water in Thompson. Therefore, Ragnar only looked for a relationship and released Gina Jones and the others in advance. Charlie had already figured out Mrs. Wilson clearly. He knew that if Mrs. Wilson saw Gina and the three of them want to live in a villa with him, she would do everything possible to drive Gina away. This would offend Gina to death, as predicted. Originally, Gina and the three were still grateful to Mrs. Wilson. If Mrs. Wilson treated them well, they would definitely go all out to give back the favor to Mrs. Wilson. In that case, with the help of three big and haughty village women, Mrs. Wilson's family can at least have enough to eat. However, Charlie just determined that Mrs. Wilson would not choose this path. Therefore, he deliberately let old lady Wilson experience the feeling of shooting herself in the foot. The original help turned into an enemy, which definitely make old lady Wilson miserable. And Mrs. Wilson did not disappoint him. Now, it is obvious that Mrs. Wilson has been struggling to feed a family of 4 alone, so Wendy can only carry the burden of supporting it. Charlie looked at Wendy in front of him. Although his impression of her was slightly changed, he did not sympathize with her. Immediately, he spoke faintly, "Redwoods is not far from here. If you take a car, the starting price is almost the same." Wendy hurriedly said, "Brother-in-law, I can't think to split my money in half now. I can't bear to take the bus, let alone take a taxi." As she said, she pointed to the high heels under her feet and said, "I was going to walk straight over, so that I can save some money. I just saw you passing by here, so I mustered up the courage to apologize to you. By the way, can you give me a ride?" In fact, Wendy now has a good impression of Charlie. Since the day before the Chinese New Year, when many big figures in Orr's Hill came to pay Charlie New Year's greetings, she realized that she had made a huge mistake when she looked down on Charlie. She also realized that the current Charlie is no longer comparable to the old Charlie. Moreover, he has always been very good at Claire, and Wendy also sees it. Therefore, her current view of Charlie has changed drastically from before. When she came out today, she just saw Charlie riding a bike passing by, so she mustered up the courage to call him. But Charlie really couldn't give Wendy a good impression, so he said, "I still have something to do. I can't take you there. I am not going along with the Pearl River Woods." Although Wendy felt lost in her heart, she did not continue to entangle her. She nodded very refreshingly and said, "Brother-in-law, it's okay, if you have anything to do, please do it first. I'll just go over myself." Seeing that she was still wearing high heels, she couldn't get there in less than 40 minutes. He felt a little sympathetic, so he said, "Well, let's add a PayPal account, and I will transfer some money to you." Wendy subconsciously said, "No need, brother-in-law, I can't ask for your money," Charlie said calmly. "You just call me brother-in-law. Sincerely, I should help you, not to mention that you met me, and if you meet your sister, she will definitely help you too. Claire has always been kind and doesn't like to hold grudges. If she was shown the appearance of Wendy, she would definitely help." When Wendy heard this, she was touched and ashamed, and choked up, "Brother-in-law, I used to be so cruel to you. You are still willing to help me?" I am. Speaking of this, Wendy couldn't help crying. Today, she really understood what it means to repay grievances with virtue. Like others, she has offended others before, so it is easier for him to pay her back with the same coin. However, instead of ridiculing and mocking her, Charlie was willing to help, which really surprised her. Charlie said at this time, "Okay, don't cry, don't shirk, hurry up and add a PayPal. I have something to take care of, I have to go." Wendy was so busy that she nodded her head again and again, but when she reached into her pocket, she realized that she didn't have a mobile phone. Her mobile phone was taken away by Regnar's people a long time ago. So, she said nervously, "Brother-in-law, I don't have a mobile phone."